Hello, you are either watching this video because you've requested PT sessions for a backflip or you've shown interest in wanting to learn a backflip. So the main thing is that there's many videos out there on YouTube. Some of them are really good, but a lot of them are trying to say learn a backflip in a day or learn a backflip in an hour, or whatever it is. And the thing about that is it's actually quite true. You can learn a backflip really, really quickly, but you do need a lot of the strength in order to learn that technique. So most of the backflipping which I teach ends up being, okay, these are the exercises you need to do, and a lot of the time people don't do them and they still want to be able to do a backflip. So in this video I'll be going through the strength exercises and the frequency in which you need to do them. So the real danger in these YouTube videos is that they're not coaches. So a lot of coaching is about us knowing how the brain works and how to work around those obstacles or overcome those obstacles. And a lot of those guys don't know how to do it. One big example being is that in a lot of their YouTube videos they're teaching you how to do a jump and tuck. So they're teaching you a jump and tuck shape. Now what you're essentially doing is jumping, tucking and landing without doing a backflip. So that teaches you how to do an anti-backflip. You're not backflipping. My method teaches you just how to do the straight jump, because that's the part in which you are actually going to be doing in the backflip. From there, as we start tucking, it's either laying down on a box and then tucking and rolling backwards, so you teach you how to tuck with rotation, or you're jumping and then tucking on my shoulder and I'm either allowing you to go backwards or stopping you from going backwards, again teaching you how to jump then tuck with rotation. That is how you're going to learn a backflip. If you learn it just by doing jumps and tucks, you're essentially learning how to jump, tuck and then land on your back, or worse, your head. So the first part that I'm going to show you is the straight jump. Now, the straight jump is a little bit specific because you have to engage your core when you're doing so. Now, as you can see from the video, when I jump and engage my core, I rotate backwards slightly. And this is because when I actually try and do the backflip, this is the first part and I'm trying to resist this rotation. And when I tuck, that allows that rotation to happen. So it's all that potential energy that we're building ready for that tuck. Now, obviously, when you do this, you're gonna be landing on your heels, you have to split your legs and fall over. So if this does feel uncomfortable, then do it on a crash mat. The good thing about doing it on a crash mat or a very soft surface, like a bundle of pillows or bed duvets or something that you're allowed to do, is that one, if you do land your heels, it's not gonna hurt, and two is that it's much harder to jump on these things, meaning that you're gonna build up a stronger jump or a surplus of jump, so you're gonna have a really nice high backflip. The main thing to be careful of here is bending the back. What we don't wanna do is jump and bend our back so we can land nicely again. The only way to land nicely from this first jump is to complete the backflip back round to your feet. If you are able to land nicely from this straight jump, you're doing it wrong. So after we've practiced our jumping part, which you do need to practice quite a lot, we can move on to the tuck. The tuck is all about core strength and core power, essentially. So lay down on the floor, grab something sturdy. It can be someone's ankles, just be careful pulling them over, but it does have to be quite heavy and fixed, because otherwise what you're gonna do is you're gonna pull something on top of yourself when you're laying down. Not ideal. From here, you're gonna lengthen yourself the whole way out and you're gonna lift your heels off the ground. This engages your core already. And then you're gonna snap your knees into your shoulders as quick as possible. And then back out, don't touch your heels down, and back in. And we repeat this. The most important thing about this part is that you're keeping your knees to your shoulders and not to your chin. You may knee yourself in the chin just doing this exercise, but also is if you get the whole way around to a backflip and you land really low, you don't want your chin to be the thing that your knees contact. Otherwise that's gonna really hurt. You want your knees to go to your shoulders because they're gonna put up with that, and then your face has plenty of room in between your legs to not hit anything. Moving on from this to go to a harder exercise, you essentially work against gravity. So in our academy we have these lovely metal bars, or we have some wall bars, some wooden ones as well, near where the flying squirrels and thundercats and falcons sit. And you grab hold of these. Again, the same thing, you engage that core first, so your legs are already slightly out, and then you draw them up to your shoulders. Okay, much more difficult. You need a lot more core strength to do this, but it's really, really good. If you don't have something like this, or you can't use that at the academy for whatever reason, then you can get a normal pull-up bar and you can do the same thing. But it does have to be quite high because you have to have a full hang to do this. And you also, with a pull-up bar, is you need to get the timing right. So the timing is usually when you're swinging forwards. As you get to the forward swing, then you pull them up. Core rocks. So we can do core rocks like the dish. So you can see here, my back is off the ground. It's just my lower back and my bum that's on the ground. And then my legs off the ground too. I'm just trying to use really small core movements to get this rock going. And then I can turn it into tucked rocks as well. So I have my arms out, trying to get them parallel with the floor and trying to keep them parallel with the floor. And I rock forwards and backwards using my legs to help that rock go. I don't want to go too far back or too far forwards, just getting that rock going. So to summarize the exercises, we have the straight jumps, we have the core rocks, we have the laying down tucks, then we have the hanging tucks. Now, the hanging tucks are going to be a progression, so we can put those out for now. But essentially, the other three are the ones you want to be practicing. So I would say you want to do these 3 times per week for maybe 4 weeks. And in each session, you're going to be doing the whole thing 3 times. So you'll do 10 to 15 straight jumps, 15 to 20 core rocks, and then 10 to 15 laying down tucks. If with the laying down tucks you progress onto hanging tucks, only do 5 of those. To build good power, it's less repetition and more weight essentially. And because you're going against gravity, you're essentially picking up more weight. So as I said, run through this whole thing, this whole set 3 times. So that's 3 sets, 3 times per week, 4 weeks, and then we are ready. Now the reason why I ask people to do this is not only to build strength, it is really, really important, it's also to build that muscle memory. As we're doing these jumps, we now know how to jump. I don't have to teach that anymore, okay? If you can tuck really, really tight, I don't have to teach that anymore. These are 2 huge cues I always have to give people for doing backflips. The other thing is that it helps keep me safe, because when we're doing backflips, if you jump up or if you're loose, you're gonna end up kicking me or hitting me, and I don't want that. So it's really, really good to get this muscle memory so you can learn the technique faster because you already have a bunch of it built in, and you keep me nice and safe. Maybe just one last little thing that I'd like to add is to make sure that you are warming up your ankles properly. And when I say warm them up, I mean practice this in with your other exercises. Make sure you're doing dorsiflexion, which is when your toe goes towards your shin, and plantar flexion when you are basically sitting down and you can lift your knees up with your toes pointing out behind you. Now the reason why we do this is because when we do the backflip, if we land really low, we're going to either do really, really dorsiflexion or really plantar flexion, and instead of that then injuring us, it can just be something which we can already do. So it's better to bend and break is what we usually say. Practice that, keep these ankles nice and strong, but also keep them quite mobile, so that when it comes to doing the backflips, we're not going to walk away with any injuries and put a stop to any training that we're doing. I hope that helps. The aim of this video is to save you money and to save you having PT sessions or wasting some time with me that you don't need to waste. You can do it by yourself, and when you come to me, we're already ready to get that backflip going in maybe even 1 session, and then perfect it throughout 3 to 5 sessions, rather than it taking 10 sessions or 20 sessions to build up all that strength and then go do it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in class.